On this day in Tudor history, the 12th of February 1584, 5 Catholic priests, including James Fen, were brutally executed at Tyburn. Their crime? Simply practising their faith in Elizabethan England. James Fenn's story is one of faith, resilience, and ultimately martyrdom. A man who'd once been a scholar, a husband, and a father found himself condemned to a traitor's death, despite his insistence that he was innocent of the charges against him. His final moments, including a heart-wrenching farewell to his little daughter, make this one of the most tragic yet compelling stories of the Elizabethan persecution of Catholics. So who was James Fen, and how did he end up on the scaffold at Tyburn? Let's delve into his life, his mission, and the events that led to his execution. James Fen was born in Montacute, Somerset, and educated at New College and Corpus Christi College, Oxford. However, his refusal to take the oath of supremacy, which recognised Elizabeth I as the supreme head of the Church of England, led to his expulsion. He spent time tutoring students at Gloucester Hall before returning to Somerset, where he worked as a private tutor. During this period, Fen married and had 2 children. But his life changed dramatically when his wife died. After her death, he took a position as a steward in the household of Nicholas Poyntz, a Catholic gentleman. It was there that he met a Catholic priest who encouraged him to take holy orders. Fen felt a calling, left his secular life behind, and travelled to the English College at Reims and later Douai, where he trained as a priest. By 1580, he'd been ordained and sent back to England on a dangerous mission to minister to Catholics and bring people back to the Catholic faith. This was a perilous task under Elizabeth's rule, where Catholic priests were considered traitors. Fen's ministry didn't go unnoticed. He was arrested and thrown into Ilchester jail, where he was put on public display, chained and fettered, as a warning to others. However, instead of discouraging the crowd, his dignified and pious demeanour actually inspired admiration, leading many to rethink their own beliefs. Word of this reached Queen Elizabeth I's council, who ordered him to be sent to London. There he was interrogated by Sir Francis Walsingham, Elizabeth I's spymaster. He was then imprisoned at the Marshalsea prison for 2 years. At first, authorities didn't know that Fen was a priest, and so they allowed him visitors. But rather than being broken by imprisonment, he used this opportunity to minister to Catholics and even convert Protestants. He also urged criminals to repent, showing his dedication to his faith even in captivity. Eventually, however, his secret was discovered, and he was interrogated about his loyalty to the Queen and the Catholic faith. Fen made it clear that he would never harm Elizabeth I, that he wasn't a traitor, and that he was willing to die for his beliefs. Despite his words, he was accused of conspiring with fellow priest George Haydock in Rome to return to England and assassinate the Queen. Fen vehemently denied the charge, pointing out that he'd been actually imprisoned in the Marshalsea at the time the conspiracy was alleged to have taken place. But the court was not interested in the truth. The judge dismissed his alibi, instructing the jury to find him guilty of treason, and they did. His fate was sealed. Fen was transferred to the Tower of London, where he was kept in irons until the day of his execution. Even at this late stage, his former schoolmate, Mr. Popham, the Attorney General, tried to persuade him to renounce his faith in an effort to save his life. But Fen refused. He was ready to die. On the 12th of February 1584, he was drawn on a hurdle to Tyburn, where a large crowd had gathered. Among them was his young daughter Frances, who wept as she said her final goodbye to her father. Fen looked upon her with a calm and serene countenance, gave her his blessing, and then turned to meet his fate. At the scaffold he prayed and once again declared his innocence, before recommending himself and the Queen, to whom he wished all manner of happiness, to God's mercy. Then came the brutal execution. He was hanged, cut down while he was still alive, disembowelled and quartered. His head was placed on London Bridge, while his body was divided and displayed on 4 of the city's gates. James Fen was just one of 5 Catholic priests executed that day, along with George Haydock, Thomas Hemmerford, John Nutter and John Munden. In 1929, James Fen was beatified by Pope Pius XI, officially recognising him as a martyr of the Catholic Church. James Fenn's story is one of faith, conviction and tragedy. He wasn't a traitor, nor was he a conspirator. He was a man who refused to compromise his beliefs even in the face of death. His final moments, especially his farewell to his young daughter, make his story all the more heartbreaking. Whether one sees him as a religious martyr or a victim of a brutal regime, his execution is a stark reminder of the dangers of religious persecution in Tudor England. Was James Fen a brave martyr or simply a victim of Elizabethan paranoia? Or a bit of both? Let me know in the comments. And if you love uncovering the hidden stories of Tudor history, do remember to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.